opportunities, of course, but let's dispel the myths, first of all, and create that burning platform. And before I go on to the next slide, I'm also going to throw it open to the room, because if it's that important, and we've got this wealth of talent out there, we need to really identify what's getting in the way. Because until we identify what's getting in the way, it's very difficult for us to put in place the right solutions and remove those barriers. And if there's any lessons from what I'm talking to you about this morning, that would definitely be it. We work with too many employers who leap to advertising, such as with Evenbreak, and that's fantastic, Jane can get you the talent. But if that isn't where your barrier is, you're just accessing more talent and then sorting it out because you've got those processes not quite right in the first place. So we're going to talk a little bit about what gets in the way. Then we're going to look at some examples of what can happen when something gets in the way and just have a little moment about that. And most importantly, we're going to celebrate what happens when we get it right, how easy it is to get it right when we know how, talk about some case studies and prove those facts that we've all discussed this morning about what happens when we get the right people for the right job, which is exactly what the driver behind this should be, absolutely. And then we're going to talk about what you as employers can do to improve that within your own organisations and most importantly within your supply chain. What those of you who haven't spoken to me before will find is that I will rant about the recruitment industry. I will talk to you a lot about the importance of that, and I do talk a great deal about how we can improve experience of employers and help them to engage with their recruiters, some of whom are in the room today, to do good work and support them rather than block them in this space. So, just so that we know the facts, thank you, Paul. Can we go backwards, please?
Well, you're reaching.
No, it's fine.
We haven't realised this, by the way.
These are proven statistics. If any of you want to help with that business case, and Jane's going to share some information with you again later today, particularly if you're good enough to fill out your evaluation forms. This is from the HSE, so Health and Safety Exec. We currently have a great advantage in that the Minister for Disabled People is also the Minister for Health and Safety. He's got a joint portfolio, and we can bring the two together. Which, when you're working with organisations such as E.ON, which is one of our key customers, when you can link disability to a positive impact on health and safety, you're in a very good place. And the Health and Safety Executive told us that disabled people are as productive as their colleagues. We know that as a fact, statistically proven by research and evidence. That's not about good-meaning people saying, honestly, they're really good. This is proven statistical fact. They take less sick leave, not more. And certainly when I was the HR Director of Manchester City Council, more decades ago than I would like to share with you today, that was the case even then. So in the early 1990s, we could even then prove that statistically that our disabled colleagues were taking off less sick leave than their non-disabled colleagues. They stay longer in the jobs for the reasons some of you in the room have shared with us today. People who have had the motivation, the determination and the will to get over these barriers and get into the right opportunity will respect that employer for it. If that employer then puts in the solutions to help them do well, they will stay. They will stay longer. And I remember we did a statistic with E.ON actually about their staff turnover in their home energy consultants, which is the people that knock at your door saying buy from E.ON and not British Gas. They had 150% churn in that particular talent supply chain. That cost a lot of money, a lot of money. And what was basically happening was E.ON would train some people up, and then about 6 months later they'd move to British Gas because they'd have an offer on so they could earn more commission, and so on and so forth. What we worked with E.ON to do was to achieve a different way of recruiting, which actually reached out to diverse and very specifically disabled people in communities, enable them to work locally in their own communities, support it, and they stayed longer. And that saved millions of pounds over years in a recruitment supply chain. So that's a business case, it can save money. When people stay and they do well, it saves money. They have fewer work accidents, because as James quite rightly pointed out, somebody managing their disability or their impairment or their health condition will manage that and is less likely to have that accident because they're in control of their environment and their situation. It gives us that extension of the talent pool, and for those of you who aren't close to the recruitment space at the moment, we are getting back. In fact, I think, Paul, you probably know this better than I do, we are back into that candidate-driven market. So we haven't got that, we'll put a job out and God, how are we going to sift the candidates? We have less candidates than we have jobs in some sectors already, and that change is happening. So gone are the days, and if they were ever there, which I would dispute, where the employer was in control. The candidate's in control of their choice over where they go to work, and the better the employer is about attracting that, the better. So that enhances your brand, and of course, as we've already pointed out, but it isn't what we want to lead on, disabled people are protected by law. Don't click. We've been working together a long time.